But you can't argue with his track record, can you?
Of course,
I mean,
yeah.
like if you're getting rid of a manager at this point after what was it, 25 games unbeaten?
Yeah.
What's the point?
Look, we see this happen all the time.
Yeah.
When we lose, everyone is a tactical genius. Everyone knows what Hugo Broos should have done, who should have played. And we didn't take our chances. And we know that, especially at that level, you get punished. And that's exactly, we didn't take our chances. Cameroon got back into the game. Yeah.
But it really did feel when those 3 or 4 big chances went.
Yeah.
I just thought,
It's one of those days like football.
Exactly. They're going to win this.
It's like, for example, I just look at how everyone is responding to Real. And Teko spoke about this. And he warned, he said, you guys are going to do to him what you did to me. You're going to build him up so much. Then as soon as he has a half decent game or a bad game, you're going to break him down.
Today's episode is brought to you in partnership with Sourcefin. Okay, Sharp, before we kick it off, let me put you on game real quick. Joe, you know that feeling where you have a big deal lined up, mara you have a money problem? Relax. Sourcefin has your back. Whether it's a tender, purchase order, or you're waiting for an invoice to pay out, Sourcefin works with SMMEs and can have you covered in 48 hours. So relax, it's a description here episode 2, tap a link and apply now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the State of Football, where the game meets opinion, memory, and insight. Nada. Maza loading. I mean, I think you guys actually requested this. You said we need a follow-up to the previous episode, which we are doing. This is the follow-up. I think we were not planning actually to do this episode because we believed that our beloved Bafana is going to go a little bit deeper into the Afcon, but unfortunately not. But let me just start. I'm here with our resident host, Apex Playbook, Mpoza. I'm not. Now we have 2 special guests again. Tsepo, you're not a guest. Tsepo, are you good?
You're over that, my boy.
You're not a guest, my boy. You are, like we said, part of the furniture. And then we have Joe Kran, resident journalist. You back, my brother. How you doing, man?
Yeah, good. A little bit sad, disappointed by the Bafana thing, but we'll get over it. World Cup coming in there.
Yeah, I mean, at least we have something to look forward to. It's been a minute since we've had you here, man. Welcome. We love having you here. And I actually can't wait to get stuck in, guys. It's going to be... There's a lot to talk about. Let me just put it like that. So let's just get stuck in. First things first, guys. Afcon, we out. We've had a couple of days to, reflect, pretty much think before we speak and regulate our thoughts. And Bafana obviously is out. Mpo, I don't know, man. Let's just look at it in terms of the campaign. Before we get into the Cameroon game, because I think that's the only game we haven't spoken about, right? But overall Afcon campaign for Bafana Bafana, any positives, negatives from your side? Do you think that this was a success or was it actually a failure?
I think there's positives and there's negatives. I think overall, I wouldn't call it a success, but I certainly wouldn't call it a failure either. You know my feelings. I don't think we necessarily have the team to demand to win the Afcon. I mean, we made it to the round of 16. In the previous edition, in the previous editions, before it was more teams, we actually would have made it to the quarterfinals, because back then, as soon as you exited the group, it was the quarterfinals. So, I mean, we got 6 points, which is a positive. We saw good young players coming through like Mboga's, which is a positive. We made it to the qualifying stages. Yes, we were knocked out, and I think that's disappointing, especially because of the momentum we had built from the previous tournament and the qualifiers. So yeah, mixed feelings for me.
Okay. Joey?
Yeah, that's same lines really. I think you look at where Bafana were before the tournament. I think one of the things I do think is a real positive is that you go up against Cameroon, who historically very good African football team. And people were pretty confident. And I think that says a lot about the mood around Bafana now, and the way that's changed, because that wasn't the case for so long. Sure. There was this just natural pessimism around Bafana and the way that people viewed them as a national team. Yeah. I think what we've seen over the last, 12 months, 18 months, we've seen that pride come back into Bafana Bafana again, which is great. I mean, the World Cup qualification obviously has helped in that sense, but it really did feel like Bafana are going into games now really feeling like they can have a proper crack at it now. And look, I mean, obviously we know what happened against Cameroon, and I'm sure we'll get into that game a little bit later, but that game could have gone very differently.
Yeah,
you take the first 15 minutes of that game, you get a couple of goals there, and Bafana go through.
Yeah,
like that is the long and short of it. I do think though that there is an element of maybe an element of what could have been with this team. I think the biggest disappointment for me is that they never really hit their straps in the tournament in general. I don't think we ever saw. I've seen so much of Bafana Bafana in recent months over the last year, where they've just really gone for teams and they've looked so attacking, and they've looked so potent. And as much as they got through the group stages, it never really felt like we saw the best of Bafana. And I think the nature of the defeat and the nature of the exit is more disappointing than the actual exit itself, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
No, fully with you. Tshepo, I mean, we've had the show. We spoke about the group stages, and I think in the previous edition you said, we got 6 points. We did enough to get out of the group. Now, in hindsight, overall, we out of the tournament. Has that opinion changed from your side, or it's pretty much consensus?
I think when you play tournament football in the group stages, you must just do enough to get out, but have enough confidence to know when you go into the knockout stages that you're gonna make it through to the other round again. But overall, thinking about the game, like I don't want to talk about the Cameroon game just solely now.
Yeah.
But then the 4 games that we had, they're not so bad, but they're also not so good. But then it gives us a direction about the players that we have and who raise their hands and how can we move forward.
Yeah. No, 100%. I think, Joe, you also made a very good point there. I mean, we usually watch Bafana Bafana with a lot of pessimistic views. The stadiums were not even being packed when Bafana Bafana was playing in South Africa, and that has definitely changed. So I think there's a lot of positives to take out of this. I mean, we were expecting to beat Cameroon. We went in there and say we expect to win.
It's funny, man. I'm in obviously WhatsApp groups with South African mates and stuff, and I get messages like, "Oh, there's just a couple of like little speed bumps there that could be a problem." Like what? Like Cameroon and Morocco and Algeria. Like these little tiny speed bumps. But no, I think that does say a lot about where we're at as a nation now in terms of the faith that's in the national team. And I think a lot of that comes down to the great work that Hugo Broos has done, but also the sort of players that are coming through now. And I do think you look at the team that was out for this Afcon. There are a lot of players in there that've got another tournament in them, another big tournament in them as well. And then you look at people like Rele and Mbokazi. Like you're talking
can build
3, 4, 5 tournaments in them if things go well. So I do think that as disappointing as it is and as demoralising as it is to see Bafana knocked out at the first proper hurdle. I do think it's important to look at the bigger picture with where Bafana are now and to not get too sort of downhearted by where things are at.
Yeah.
I mean, guys, we've been watching, we all watch podcasts. We watch the news, we watch some football platforms, and it seems like there's a lot of people who are campaigning, if I can put it like that, for the coach to be sacked. I've seen some headlines that were shocking. I don't want to mention what some of the headlines said, but Hugo Broos, he coached Bafana Bafana at the World Cup?
Of course, I think for me, I think it's even ridiculous that we are asking that question. I mean, why would he be fired? And I mean, I hope that because we've seen this movie. I mean, I've followed our football for so long, and I've seen this movie play out. Qualified for '98, we had a good thing going with Clive. Got rid of him, or he resigned. He was forced to resign, and someone else comes in. Didn't work out. We qualified for 2002 World Cup. With Carlos Queiroz, same thing happened, right? And now we are going to our first World Cup, our first real qualification in like 23 years, and we want to disrupt everything. There's absolutely no reason. I just don't even understand why we're having this conversation.
It's snap judgments, isn't it? We see it in football all the time. One bad result or one little patch, and all of a sudden, like you got to throw the baby out with the bathwater and start again. And Look, I know that Hugo Broos is a divisive figure with a lot of people, but I mean, but you can't argue with his track record, can you?
Of course.
I mean, like if you're getting rid of a manager at this point after what was it, 25 games unbeaten? What's the point?
Yeah.
So the next guy, what is he supposed to do?
What is he supposed to do?
Is it win the Afcon or get rid?
Yeah.
Exactly. You've got 6 months. If you don't win the World Cup, you're gone.
Yeah, no.
But also, if you look at our history with Afcons, why would we fire Hugo Broos? Think about it. We didn't fire Peter when he didn't even qualify for the Afcon. We didn't fire Sheikh's Mashaba when he was knocked out 2015 in the group stage. We still didn't fire him when he didn't qualify for 2017. I mean, I just don't understand. And now we've got a coach who comes in. We qualify for 2 back-to-back AFCONs, so we can't even do that anymore.
Yeah.
We did that. We got a bronze medal. We'd get knocked out by Cameroon 2-1.
Yeah.
We've qualified for the World Cup and the coach must go. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. Honestly, I just don't understand.
But also, if you let them go, then who do you bring in?
Well, the word is Pito, and I've got no problem. By the way, I hope if he doesn't go to Sundowns, I would be very happy for Pito to take over as Bafana coach. I think he's learned, he's grown as a coach to take over. But after the World Cup, we've got a project. It's moving. Just see to the end. There's no need to make any irrational decisions right now.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a bit mind-boggling that we actually having this conversation and that people are saying this with conviction that sort of coach, it's been real. But you know what? It's fine. We can move on from that. But I think I want us to now get into the Cameroon game, right? Because obviously there's some positives, there's some negatives in terms of the actual performance. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you spoke about Hugo being a divisive figure. We'll get into that. Also with regards to some of those things going forward, because we have a World Cup to look forward to, right?
Sure.
So looking at that, let's look at the Cameroon game in isolation. Look at tactics. Look at the lineup that he actually had for that particular game, and you know, why did we actually lose that game? What could we have done better? You know, type of thing.
Because you didn't take the 4 chances you got. Exactly.
It's
I know that's a very oversimplified version of it, but that's because we can talk about the changes, and I mean, the certain decisions that were made selection wise, like. For me, not having Aubrey Modiba starting that game, bit mental. But like all these decisions that we can question after the fact because of defeat, you look at the way that game started, and Bafana could have had 3. Like genuinely, in the first 15 minutes, could have been 3-0 up. Yeah, probably should have been. I mean, Rele's chance was massive.
Yeah, Kabini
should have been.
Yeah, Kabini should have done better with that. And you know, that's one of those things. Is like. Maybe Aubrey would have done. I don't know. But yeah, it's very easy in like after the fact to say, well, he got all of this wrong.
Yeah.
But we could have been saying what an absolute masterclass of a decision that was if you go 3-0 up in the first 20 minutes and Cameroon are on their arse and you're through to the next round.
Football. And for me, it's so everyone, look, we see this happen all the time.
Yeah.
When we lose, everyone is a tactical genius. Everyone knows what Hugo Broos should have done, who should have played. But let's be honest. So the biggest, listening to a lot of people talk about it, a lot of fans, former players, everyone is going on about the lineup, the tactics, right?
Yeah.
And I think we should discuss that. By the way, remember what I said to you guys in the last...
No, I'll give you your flowers.
I asked you guys, I said, Cameroon play a 3-4-3 or a 3-5-2. Don't you think Hugo may very well play the same formation to try to match up?
Correct.
And you said, well, we said no, he wouldn't dare do that.
I let that parade. I'll keep my hand up.
Because I've seen it so many times. Some coaches, if they play against a team that plays a certain formation, they think, well, I don't think I can match it with my own system. Let me rather match up, right? And that's what he did. And firstly, everyone is saying that was the wrong decision, but was it the wrong decision? Because let's look at the flow of the game. Yeah. Football games are decided on very small margins. And if it was such a wrong decision, why did we dominate Cameroon in the beginning?
Yeah.
I mean, when I watched the first 20 minutes, I was sending everyone messages saying, I had the bola, you know? And we didn't take our chances. And we know that, especially at that level, you get punished. And that's exactly, we didn't take our chances. Cameroon got back into the game because they're a good side.
No.
They regrouped, they got back into the game. And even the first goal we conceded was really unlucky. And that was that.
It was and it wasn't. Like the first goal, yes, it was unlucky in terms of the
the rebound.
the rebound
Yeah.
stuff, but also it should have been closed.
Should have been
Like,
closed. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure,
It's
sure.
and I think that's one of the things that Hugo Broos was so disappointed with. Like, not just in that game, I
Yeah.
think throughout the tournament,
Yeah.
he spoke about like the sort of the unforced errors that Bafana were making, and I think that defensively they've been so good for so long. It did feel like they were a little bit shaky at
True.
Afcon.
Yeah, we're not so solid. I mean,
All 4 games.
we,
yeah.
and we
Also,
conceded
you-
in every game. Yeah.
I think the other problem is, and again, it's after the fact, and
Yeah.
if the first few minutes would have been different, it would have been a different game. But you're also bombing balls into a box for Lyle on his own against these ginormous Cameroonian centre backs, and like you're trying to make that happen. If you're going to do that, Evans should be playing
Yeah.
because you get Evans on because he's got get him some height and some physical prowess in the box as well. But yeah, like you say, we're all experts after the fact.
It's so funny, man, because I mean, the margins are so small. You know, like, I mean, like you guys are saying, we could have scored 1 or 2 goals.
Yeah.
Easy win for Bafana Bafana in that first 20 minutes. Cameroon
Yeah.
probably going to be shell-shocked.
Well, they were rattled, weren't they? You could see they were rattled.
Because I think Cameroon they know how to play that formation, but I don't think they know how to defend against it. You know?
Yeah.
And I think the fact that we came out like that, they were completely
They planned for something different.
They were
Yeah.
completely shocked. You know.
Yeah, and the longer the game went on, the more they got to terms with it.
Comfortable,
And
yeah.
Exactly. They got to figure
Yeah.
things out a little bit, didn't they?
The only thing though, I think the formation was good. I think it worked, but I don't think we had the right people.
Personnel.
Yeah, for that formation. Like for example, if you're gonna play with wing backs, surely there must be attacking wing backs, right?
Yeah,
Then surely Aubrey should have started.
100%.
No brainer. Then it brings the question: if you're gonna play this formation, this is where you need Tapelombre, and that's
Yeah, 100%.
And we're gonna get
But
into
personal.
certain players getting left out and that. What did you think?
I don't know. I think, like we said, the first 15, 20 minutes,
Yeah.
you're on top of them.
Yeah.
And then you look at the personnel that was on the field, if they did better in terms of converting with making better use of the chances, then we'd be talking a whole different story.
Yeah.
And then you probably look at where Hugo was thinking in terms of Cameroon big boys, and then he's trying to bring a little bit of physicality also. Also, after the fact, you look at the personnel that's on the field and say Cameroon probably had about 5, 6 big boys for set pieces because we've been vulnerable there.
Yeah, yeah,
So he brought a little bit more bigger people
yeah.
Yeah.
in the team, which
Yeah.
when you count how many big boys we had, we probably had about 6, 7.
But what about people who say that? And I think it's a fair point, right? Do you think maybe sometimes you go, and I think Tepo, you can answer it better than all of us because you know playing football at a high level. Do you think maybe he focuses too much on the opposition? Because people are saying, no, let's just be ourselves. Let's play our game. Let's not always worry about the opposition. What, as a professional player, what's your take on that?
Listen, you'll always study the opposition.
Yeah.
And then you'll always say, how do we now impose ourselves on the opposition?
Yeah.
So that's probably the standpoint that he always goes off of. So you must do your homework at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't say he completely changed because they were making connections. They had the dead man going.
Yes.
They had everything to win the game, actually.
Yeah. And I don't think we're defensive. Like people are saying we had 7 defenders. I'm like, firstly, we didn't have 7 defenders. Tebza is not a defender. Obas is not a defender. He's a defensive midfielder. He's not a defender. But even then, people say it was a defensive formation. I think just because, well, we had 5 defenders and we had 2 defensive midfielders. But we actually played some of our best football in the tournament with this formation.
Yeah.
We looked dangerous. Tebza was getting on the ball more than before. He was playing dangerous balls.
I think sometimes people forget that there's also a team trying to stop you from doing stuff as well. Like
Yes.
sometimes people will say, "Oh, it was a defensive performance," and maybe that's sometimes just because the opposition is doing a good job at making you look like you're having to defend a lot.
People make it seem like you just decide,
Yeah.
oh boys, let's just
And it's not the flow of the game and how it's played out.
And
yeah.
you know it, but sometimes you want to attack, but you've been
We are
pinned
forced,
back.
yeah.
Yes.
No.
You know, my only disappointment was in the second half, I think our 210s probably went out wide and our fullbacks didn't push.
It drifted a bit.
Yeah.
Because what I saw, what was working very well for us was when we were coming out, it was almost because if you look at how our 10s played, one of them would come in as like a proper 10.
Yeah.
And then remember, Cameroon also had 2 in the center. We've got 2, right? Then our center backs bring the ball out. We play Tebza in, but now we've outnumbered them because one of our 10s has stepped in.
inside.
So now we've got an advantage. That's why we're suddenly getting so much space. And then our other 10 is running in behind the defense, and their defenders don't really know what to do. But guys, we're playing against top teams. They realized they quickly readjusted, and that's how football goes. And I think from there, I think we struggled to come up with a plan B.
Yeah, it really did feel, and it's like, again, it's a massive oversimplification of it all.
Yeah,
but it really did feel when those 3 or 4 big chances went.
Yeah,
I just thought,
it's one of those days.
They're gonna win this.
You messaged me, Tepo messaged me, and he said, I think it was after. I can't remember the order
second
of things.
Gabini chance.
After the second chance, Tepo messaged me and said, that's it. If you miss these chances at this level, we're going to lose. And I said, nah, don't be negative. And that's what happened.
I mean, that's what it is. I mean, also, you're looking at that. Obviously, you spoke about the Rele chance, because I saw a lot of people were coming in like, why did Rele start if he wasn't playing in the group stages and whatnot? But if Rele scores that chance, we're calling Madala a genius. Literally,
If Rele scores that chance, or if the Lyle Foster header goes in, or if Kabini scores, guess what? Mandala is a genius. Honestly, guys, it's...
but listen, if you make the 23-25-man squad, you can play at any time.
You can play at any time.
Yes, 100%.
What's the point of having a squad if you're not going to use it?
If everybody is a professional, when you get called upon, you need to be ready to play. You know, I don't get that whole thing. You didn't play him in the group stage. You should have played. Like,
you should be ready. That's why you're there.
Ready. That's why you're there. And not everyone is going to play every minute of every game. If we're seeing it tactically, this is what we need in this game, then that's what we go with.
But the same people were saying Rele should not have played because they were calling for Rele to. There was a campaign saying, why is Rele not playing? And then he's played, and then it's...
you can't win.
Can't win.
It's the benefit of hindsight and after the fact. Like you're saying now, it's like, you should have played him like this. Should have gave him minutes here and there. Come on,
there's also the noise that comes with any national team, because there's club divides, there's all that kind of stuff. So you'll get a load of people shouting for Rele to start. And then when he does start and doesn't play amazing... anyone who doesn't support his team thinks, that
we've been telling you.
Told you
overrated. You know, Jonah. You just spoke about club divides and whatnot. I think it brings us next to, the next engagement I want to have, guys. We're going to the World Cup. There's a lot to improve on and off the field. So go into some off the field stuff here. Talk about Madala. I mean, he's done great on the field.
Yeah.
But like you said, he's a divisive figure off the field. How do you think about how he's been handling the media? I mean, remember, I just want to highlight a few points, right? In South Africa, there was the Kaizer Chiefs issue. Now you have fans talking about hate watches, and I think it fuels to the negativity that we have, right? We have the gift links issue, where he spoke about him in the Danish league not being good enough, which is a topic on its own. He spoke about Mbogazi. Obviously, he was late, which that deserves to be lamented, him being late. But there's some comments that he made about Mbogazi's agent. And then he spoke about the host nation, Morocco.
And launch, you can't launch. There's
launch. There's a launch. There's the stuff that he said about Temingosi Lodge.
Yeah.
And then he spoke about the host nation, Morocco. In not very glowing terms.
It's not been a great PR push, has it?
So, I don't know what you guys think of. I mean, you guys can nitpick what you want to talk about in terms of this, but what do you think? How do we need to handle this going forward?
To be honest, I'd be more interested to hear Tepo's idea on this as someone who is a footballer, knowing when a manager speaks like that, how that affects the player.
Here's the thing, Joe. Here's the thing. When you're Hugo and you've been doing well for so long, with the same methods, with the same PR, and then all of a sudden you don't win and people come for you. They'll obviously come for you in terms of that. But then if you've got your group of players that you've hand-selected and saying, 1, 2, 3, you 30 people, I know I can rely on you. Yeah. You are my soldiers. And then someone else from the outside comes, let's say you big journalist.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
You are talking about Lodge, for instance. What has Lodge done that has said to Hugo, put me in your group when we are talking the truth?
Yeah. I do think there is a very valid point for effectively it's none of our business. Because he's the one who's going to get fired if things don't go well.
Correct.
Yeah.
So he's got to pick his team based on that. And I do think there are better ways to answer things.
Yeah, of course.
Do you know what I mean? I don't think it's, for me anyway, I don't look at him not selecting Lorch, for instance. I don't go, well, that is a sackable offence. This is unbelievable. But I do think there's ways to talk about people and players and nations and all these sort of things that are a bit more respectful. And it does feel like he's been a little bit overly aggressive with the way that he's handled some of the stuff.
I agree. I think for me, it's like, you're the coach of a national team. I mean, we are fans, right? We just speak, right?
Yeah.
But you've got a responsibility. And I'm not saying you must not tell the truth, but come on, like, I'm not a PR specialist, but I know basic PR rules. Like, I'll give you an example. You get asked, and Joe, I want to ask you about journalists, but
Oh dear.
you get asked, why don't you select Kaizer Chiefs players? You can tell the truth, but then, well, you know, we're watching them, they've improved, but for now, I'm happy with my team. You know,
So just brush it.
It's the truth
why haven't you selected Lorch? Well, I'm happy with the team that I have. Lorch, if he keeps playing well, maybe we'll think about it. Guess what Mandela said? He was at Pirates, they kicked him out. What are you doing? He went to Sundowns because Rolani was there and they kicked him out. Why are you speaking like that? I think it's unhelpful, and I think what he said about Basia, for me, he could have been sacked.
I thought that whole thing was really misjudged. I think the way that he spoke down about Mbukazi was really really demeaning. Like he's this sort of lost child that can't go off and have a great time in Chicago. Like, there have been players that have gone from from MLS and done really well. You know, players who've gone to Newcastle United and Aston Villa and RB Salzburg.
All his teams,
you know, multi-million dollar deals. There is nothing to say that TLB can't go there and
move on
and kick on. Like, he's a kid. Like, he's a youngster with the world at his feet at the moment. And he will have had his decisions for making that move. Ultimately, it's not Basia's job to decide where he goes. It's his decision. She can only
options.
She can only put in front of him what's there. I just felt like it was I thought it was very unnecessary towards her. I thought it was disrespectful towards her. I thought it was, like I say, very what's the word I'm looking for? It felt very I think infantilizing is probably the best way of putting it. Just like, it felt like he was talking about Mbukazi, like he was just going to be like wandering around Chicago going, oh no, what am I going to do here? Like, he's a professional footballer going into a professional football environment. Like, he has got everything at his disposal to go and do well. This idea of like, oh, but what's he going to do in Chicago is just felt a bit unnecessary, really.
And also, if you're gonna live and work in a country, just read the room. We know our dynamics, right? We all have sisters, mothers, whatever. We know the struggle Black women in particular face in professional setups, even in football.
I was going to say more so in male-dominated sports.
Especially in male-dominated. And then you go and speak about one of the leading agents in the country. That little what is that? That is nonsense, honestly. And then I still don't understand what he meant when he said he's going to come out as a white man. As a white man. Some people are saying it's an idiom. Some people are saying, when I heard it, my interpretation was, are you suggesting that?
There's so much to pick apart.
There's so much to, and I just don't think a coach should be speaking like that.
No.
I mean, Shakes Mashaba was fired for making reckless statements in the media once. And I don't even think they were this bad.
Bro, I mean, Joe, you should know. I mean, media training is crucial, right?
Yeah.
And when you're looking at it from a journalistic point of view, journalists are looking for a story all the time. That's your job. You are looking for
sure.
Madala, every time he speaks, he's giving them stories, and they are not positive stories. He's just taking them out. He's giving them stories. Now we find ourselves focusing on the negative stuff when he's doing so much positivity in terms of the team, which is a problem.
And look, I get this. Like you say, from a journalistic perspective, we are always looking for a line. We're always looking for a headline. I'll be honest, I'm not the way I work, I'm not looking for a negative headline. If anything, I do the opposite. I don't like to work in that space, but that is what gets page views, what gets clicks, all that kind of stuff. Because it gets people riled up, rage bait and all that. But I do think we are stuck in this difficulty now of effectively talking to robots. You know, you talk to a lot of people that don't have, and won't, not they don't have, but they can't give real opinions. They won't say things that are, I mean, you look at, especially in English football, it's just cliche after cliche after cliche. And then you speak to a player or a manager who does have a little bit of something about him, and then people go, "Oh, he's arrogant. What's he talking like that for?" So it is difficult to tread that line. But I think when you're getting personal like that, I do think it's not helpful for Mbakazi himself. It's not helpful for the group. It's obviously
the nation.
It doesn't help things, because you're also then effectively turning people against Mbakazi, because if you've got people that are on Team Hugo sort of thing, they go, well, he said that, so he must be wrong. And like you said earlier, absolutely shouldn't have been late. Call him out on that as much as you want, because everyone will go, yes, absolutely, shouldn't have been late. But the other stuff just felt, like I say, it just felt so unnecessary and so it's condescending, really.
Yeah. But as a journalist, Joe, is that considered okay? Is it considered like ethical? If like you know Madala's weakness, right? You know he just can't help it, right? And you then decide, well, like for example, they asked him about the launch, because to be fair to him, I mean, I've followed all his press conferences. The first time they asked him about launch, he was more diplomatic. But I think the journalist picked up there's something there, and they asked him so many times until he just. It's like asking the witness the same question 7 times, and eventually it just
breaks.
Yeah, I think it's the same in any situation. Yeah, we have to look at every element of it. So you can understand why he's being asked about Lorch. You can understand why Tim Nkusi's frustrated at not getting to national team when he's doing well. You can also understand why Hugo's going, I've told you. I've said it so many times. Like, I just stop asking me. And I do think there's an element of like journalistic responsibility in some cases to not poke the bear a little bit.
Yeah.
You know? And I do think that we do see that. And again, not at all a South African thing. I'm not talking in this specific case. I'm talking in our industry in general. I do think we, as media, do often try and poke the bear, and it's not helpful, but it does get a good video clip. And that's ultimately what's the currency for a lot of people. But I mean, you look at the Kaiser Chiefs thing, for instance, and asking why are you not picking Kaiser Chiefs players? It's like, well, if they were playing well enough, like he's got this vendetta against Kaiser Chiefs.
Yeah.
If Kaiser Chiefs players were flying, it's not like he's going to be like, oh well, I'm not picking them because I don't like him. Like that's because it's detrimental to him.
Because for me, it's designed to create division. Because otherwise, you could, if there's a specific player in the Chiefs team that you think can be selected, maybe you can ask.
Speak about the player.
Coach, what do you think about Du Shabalala, for example? But you were intentionally saying Kaiser Chiefs players. Why?
Yeah, like have you got an issue? Yeah.
It's got an agenda to it, though. You understand what it is.
And then he says, there's a clip that's been circulating where he says, I watched Kaiser Chiefs.
Well,
I did not see a good game.
Well, the other thing is that the thing you have to realise is that for all Kaiser Chiefs' lack of success in recent years, they're still the biggest club in this country, and no one can tell me otherwise. Like Pirates are massive, Sundowns are a big club, but in terms of sheer numbers and sheer paid views from a media perspective, they've got their own crisps, for God's sake. They've got their own packets of chips. Like Kaiser Chiefs are a huge brand, so I understand why people ask about them but there are, I think, better ways to do it.
Yeah,
fully. Did you guys see the comments by Abu Trika?
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I misread it. I misread it because when he said I want to see Hugo Broos knocked out, I thought he made like it wasn't physically. I thought I thought he was saying he what, and it was only when I read it I was like, that's a bit much. He's an old man. There's no need for that. But no, he didn't. Abu Trika was not pleased about what he said about Morocco and the vibe and all that kind of thing, was he?
And I mean, he's upset Chiefs fans, and we thought they were being sensitive.
Yeah.
He then upset politicians, basically the whole country. He's now also managed to upset African legends from like Egypt.
Guys, wait.
He can't help himself.
Oh, let's pull it back.
Yeah, pull it back, my brother.
He's upset a lot of people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was it factual? wasn't.
No, because this is
Was
the
it-
point, right?
That's the
Like,
point.
yeah.
Wasn't.
It's the truth.
Yeah, it's- yeah.
Like, there's
But,
certain ways,
but
even with
is it
us.
the truth?
Yeah.
He says gift links. He's upset gift links agent. He came out and he said they asked him about gift links. He says he's not of the right quality. What do you mean? He's one of the apparently he's one of the best
Yeah.
left
And
wing
has
backs
been consistently
And
Yeah.
he
for a
said the
long
Danish
time.
league is also not of good quality. What do you mean?
What do you mean? He says Lodge for the last years. Lodge has been doing well.
The thing is, like Tepo says, like whether it's factual or not, like it's you've got to play the game a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you think
But
maybe
also
at
don't
some
forget
point,
that he makes the calls.
but don't you think at some
Absolutely,
point
yeah.
they
Guys-
need maybe look, I don't think they should fire him for it.
Get a PR
But surely at
practitioner,
some
bro.
point they need some PR officer to
Yeah.
sit there, and every time he's about to lose it,
Watch out.
Just stop it. Stop it.
maybe we need that.
I did just sort of on a similar note. Like I remember seeing the footage of when Mo Salah came out and said
Yeah.
what he said about Liverpool recently, and you can see
The guy behind
you
him.
see Liverpool's press officer in the background, and he says it. He just goes, "Oh, what's he said that
It's
for?"
about to be a long week for him. He knows. Jeez. Okay, guys. I think we've made the point, right? In terms of Madala's biggest weakness. With regards to that, I think let's go to something else, and this is also very topical. Squad selection that went into Afcon. Like we said, we always have to pick and look at the World Cup, obviously, which is the next big thing that we're going to do. I mean, do you think he got it right with the players he left behind and the players that he took? And, maybe what are some of the selection mistakes you think that he made? And going forward, what do we suggest that he do? Madala's going to do his own thing, but what do we suggest he
It's
should
all
do
a
going
waste of a
forward?
conversation.
Except what do you? I mean,
Listen, like I said,
as a player, yeah. Tell us, what do you think?
in terms of the squad that went
Yeah.
to the Afcon, probably I would have bought Zwane just for the know-how. And he's been injured, it's okay.
Yeah.
But he will probably give you like 15, 20 minutes of good quality. You could have bought a little bit of quality in the team.
Okay.
And he's got the smarts as well, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Like he's got it all up here.
Yeah.
Besides that, then we can rather say there's certain individuals that we can maybe put a question mark to say, do you really have the quality to go from the AFCON to the World Cup? Because it's gonna go up a little bit.
Yeah.
What else? There's probably gonna be other players that are gonna raise their hands. So now there's people who are gonna knock and see if
There's always going to be players, especially when you've got the World Cup, because obviously with a national team, people always want people picked on form, and it doesn't really work that way. You need to have a core group, but you do need form players as well. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens over the next sort of 6 months to see if there's any players that really raise the hand and are just they're flying so much that by the time that World Cup squad gets picked, you just go, I'm not even sure. I'm not sure they're good enough to play at World Cup. But
They must be in the
they're
team.
in such good form at the moment.
You can't
They probably
ignore.
think they can take on the world, so you chuck them in anyway.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot that can change in that sense. I do think there's. I mean, I've been a big fan of Gift Links for a long time. I think Gift has got a gift. Like he's a supremely talented.
Didn't you play with him?
nah.
Oh, you didn't play
It
with
was the
him.
group under me.
Yeah. But I mean, I think look again, when you look at a player like Gift doing what he's been doing in Denmark, you can say what you want about the Danish
Can
league.
I pose a question?
Yeah, of course.
His gift has been so consistent. He's a good player. But then we look at the national team. And I look at who's his direct competition. And I look at Aubrey. So do I now say, because they both similar of stature, similar of play?
Yeah, but I think you could
Now do
probably.
I-
But what
I'll
about
say-
Kabini? Why don't you look at him as Kabini's competitor?
Yeah, probably that. But then if I already have an Aubrey, which is similar to Lynx, then I'd probably say it's either or.
So Kabini is the more defensive option.
Yeah.
Possibly. I think
So-
you've almost with those three, you've actually got in terms if you're looking at a squad, you've got a left back, a left wing back, and someone who's more of a
In
like
between.
yeah.
I just think the game has moved too far ahead. The idea of having a defensive fullback for me does not work. You must still, like, Khulito is a defensive fullback. He's not the greatest going forward, but he still gives you enough.
Yeah.
I think Kabini gives you almost, I'm sorry, but almost nothing going forward. I'd rather take Gift and take Aubrey, and if push comes to shove, you can always play Mbogazi at left back.
I do think that
Yeah.
Gift is a sort of player, because of his skill set. Gift is a sort of player that can change a game.
Imagine Gift in that as a wing back in this 3-4-3.
He's a sort of player that you can bring on, and he also gives you a bit of versatility as well.
Yeah.
You know, like he's a sort of player that can play in a few different positions.
My take is, if there's one thing the PR we've discussed was bad, I'd give Madala and
A plus.
if we're doing symbols, I'd give him like an F- or something. And selection for me also, because I mean we've said he must stay, but we must still be must still give
But I do think Jepo makes a good point of like, what are there any glaring people?
Yes.
Like, for you, how many people are there that are glaringly like they should have been selected? And
Okay, let's start with who shouldn't have been selected. Right.
Okay.
I understand keeping a core group, but CBC is not playing at Pirates. He's not the first choice at Pirates. Siema is ahead of him.
Okay.
You've got Grant. Think about it. Grant was ahead of CBC in the last Afcon. What has happened in 2 years where CBC is suddenly above Grant in the pecking order? Doesn't make sense. Like you can't even rationalize. There's just no sense to it. Cupido has been playing for Sundowns. He probably, in that back three, for example, imagine him would you not rather have him there in the center? He's a much better option. So that's just the defense, right? He takes 2 youngsters. Now, I understand the idea of taking youngsters to go and learn. But remember, we've got Mbogazi is a youngster. I think the age difference between Mbogazi and Chandra is probably 1 year or something.
Yeah.
You've already got Mbogazi. So in terms of building going forward, you've got Mbogazi, you've got Rele, you've got Nkota.
Yeah.
Apollos is not young, but he's still, so you've already got that. You then take 2 youngsters who you say are not going to play at all. Why not take a keeper then? Take a third choice keeper. You're never going to need a keeper, right? You then take 2 youngsters who are not going to play when you could have taken a Temba. Are you not better off having Temba, even if he's not a starter, than having a youngster who you're never going to use?
I mean, it's a fair argument, but I think there's a fair argument both ways. I think, is it better to have? I'm with you on Temba. I think he's the most consistent footballer I've seen in South Africa in my entire time covering South African football. I don't think Temba Zwane has been eclipsed by a single person in terms of longevity.
I think he's the greatest player in the PSL era for me. Yeah.
But Temba's is he going to be a part of things going forward? Probably not.
But this is. We are there to compete.
Yeah. We're not there to build for the
we're
future.
Not there to,
no, we are though, aren't we? We are, because we've already said that you don't go into this tournament expecting to win the thing.
But like I said, we've already got youngsters for the future, but we also want to compete. We want to give our best.
But you can still compete with what's there.
And Reyners? But how do you explain that? The most
no,
lethal?
that one's fair.
The Reyners argument is the most.
100% on that one.
But then, man, you look at that group, I don't know what's the average age. But you can afford to put another Madala in there.
Oh no, agreed. I'm not saying you shouldn't put Temba in there at all.
And then, okay, here's the thing about CBC. I'm trying to be in Hugo's head. You've been with CBC for your whole 4 years that you've been here.
You've also been with Grant for 4 years.
Yeah,
and then Grant's
been injured. Yeah.
But he's been playing. He's been playing.
Yeah, but listen. You've been with Grant. He's been playing. He was your regular. He got injured. He came back. Is Hugo probably saying he's not ready?
Grant has not put a foot wrong since he's been back. He's been very good. Very good.
And CBC's also been injured, by the way, because he also recently came back and he hasn't played. So CBC came back, he hasn't played. Grant came back, he played. So I think what Mpo was saying is how did CBC leapfrog Grant when he has not been playing?
Doesn't make sense. Or maybe Hugo does not. And I'm speculating. Maybe he does not rate Grant so much on his own, but he likes them more as a pair with Mvala. I don't know. And maybe when he can't have both, he's like, well, I don't know. I'm speculating. I don't know.
And we actually looked more solid in the previous Afcon with Grant and Mvala. Not saying that Mbogazi was not well and Ngeza didn't play, but we conceded a lot of chances this
I do think that Grant's a very underrated footballer, personally. I think amongst fans especially. I think he's a very steady hand, and he's you don't often see Grant on a world-beating run,
Yeah.
but you very rarely see him play badly.
Barely mistakes.
Yeah.
I think he's comfortable.
Yeah.
Like he's very comfortable on the ball. We want to play, we want to keep the ball, we want to dominate. You don't want someone, who's not comfortable, especially at centre back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A lot could
I don't like that. Why do you guys keep saying that? I know football is focused, but why do you like saying that?
Saying what? Someone who's not
We
comfortable.
need someone who's gonna play, someone's not comfortable. It's
Oh,
not my standard job.
you
need
want
to
to
be
talk. That's
That's besides the point.
You need to be comfortable.
Besides the point.
The main thing in your game was playing from the back.
Can I have
You.
Yeah, but it depends on the team
Your
setup.
conduct.
Chief,
Nah,
what's my primary job?
no.
So what? Like someone who's just gonna chase a ball.
I'm not saying he should be clueless and just hoof the ball forward, but
Yeah.
just enough.
To be honest,
Not
that's
so-
one of the main reasons I like Mbukazi is because he loves that bit.
Yeah.
Like, he loves defending.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
And I
You see, the first thing you point out is his defending.
yeah, that's what I mean. Like
Yeah.
I yes, he's very good on the ball and all that kind of stuff. But I when I watch him, I trust him to make the right decision to
Yeah.
go get rid, get rid of the
and
thing.
the funny
There we
thing
go.
is he actually enjoys modern defenders.
Sometimes.
It's like defending as an
Draws.
extra. It's like oh well, like you watch Trent. Even Aubrey sometimes is like oh well, I have to defend. So
Yeah.
Because actually loves defending.
That's what I mean,
Police
yeah.
as well.
No,
Like, he
100%.
enjoys
He wants the challenge.
Yeah, he wants
Yeah.
the challenge. Anyway, guys, I
Actually,
think
no,
we.
it's fine. I think we over elaborated. I think we can move on.
Yeah.
I mean, I was watching a podcast now, and our very good friend, he's a friend of the show. He's actually probably going to come very soon on the show, Lindo Pep.
Okay.
And he made a point that actually got me thinking. And the point was, Bafana Bafana is struggling now because Mamelodi Sundowns is also struggling when it comes to play. And is there any merit in that? I mean, and then I thought about it and I went back to the previous Afcon, right? I was like, okay, previous Afcon starting lineup, Bafana Bafana, we had Ronwin, we had Kuliso, Grant Mvala,
It was the
Zwane.
yeah.
Who else?
Yeah,
Is there something
I don't know. Is there any merit in
it's
that?
a simple
No.
answer. There is zero merit in that.
Yeah.
Absolutely none. Because again, it's and for me, this is my biggest thing, right? My biggest thing with Pito and Rolani is this. I think both of them are like exceptional, like
Yeah.
generational
Yeah.
coaches. I'm a big fan of both. But what I don't like about the way we tend to support them
Yeah.
is that we support them so much that sometimes we use that love for them as a weapon, like we weaponize it against other coaches, right? Now, suddenly, everything Bafana did was because of Roland. Let's test that,
Okay.
right? So they're saying, well, as I understand the argument, because when Roland was there, Bafana was doing well.
Correct.
Now Roland is not there, Sundowns is not doing well. And that also means Bafana is not doing well,
The Sun
right?
is not doing well though.
But,
Well,
but
that's the argument. That's the
but
argument.
let's look at the facts. Let's look at the facts, right? When Rolani was there, Sundowns did not reach a Champions League final. We can talk about sexy football. No one cares about that. They did not reach a Champions League final, right? When Rolani was not there, Sundowns, the same players who they say are not doing well, reached the Champions League final, right? Then they say, well, but the Sundowns players are not the same. Kuliso was there in the last Afcon. He was still there now.
Yeah.
Still.
Ronza was there. He was still there now. Still played well.
Aubrey.
Right?
Debza.
Aubrey still played well. Debza played, maybe not the same, but he still played well. Grant was not selected, not because he's not playing at Sundowns, but because, well, Madala decided not to select him. Who else? Tapelo could have been selected, still playing well for Sundowns.
Correct.
The coach just chose not to select him. Temba has just come back from injury. So there's absolutely no merit. And by the way, people are forgetting one thing. Remember what they were saying in the last Afcon? They were never convinced about Bafana's play.
Yeah.
They kept saying Bafana is scraping through because we barely beat anyone. We actually only beat Morocco, I think.
Yeah.
We beat Morocco and Namibia. The other games were 0-0, 1-1 penalties. And they were saying, no, we're not playing good football. It's the same thing. They make it sound like when Roland was still coaching Sundowns, Bafana was playing like peak Sundowns or peak Barcelona. We were not. So no, for me, there's no merit in that.
Here's another thing. Rulani left, fine. When Rulani was coaching Sundowns, how many South African players were playing in that team? In that Sundowns team that were being able to be selected for the national team. And then after, when he left, when Mangoba was there, how many local-based players were still playing in that Sundowns team? So you can also say the number of players that are are eligible to play for Bafana and are at Sundowns, it's still the same people. So you can't really pick anyone else besides the ones that he's mentioned.
But think about it. Look at the Sundowns. Look at the Sundowns team, right? What has changed? It is still Kuliso, South African. Tebza, South African. Vale is out, but Cupido, South African. Yeah. Aubrey, South African. We even have Basadine, South African. Tebza, South African. Allende is not South African, but Allende was playing for Rolani as well.
Correct.
What's his name? Santos is not South African, but Ribeiro was playing for Rolani and he's not South African. Reyners is South African. Okay, Recinho is not South African. Matthews is South African. There's no such thing. I heard Sundowns has reduced the pool for South African players. Where? Guys, honestly, some of these comments, it's like...
But is it Sundowns' job to...
No.
Yeah, exactly. Like, is it their job to fund the players of the national team?
No.
Also, I just think that club conversations get put into national team way too much. Not South Africa. I have the same thing in the UK. The amount of people that like will throw in when England play, for instance.
Yeah,
there'll be a Man City fan and a United player have a bad game. It's like, see, plays for United, he's crap. It's like that's not how it works. But I do think that I think because South Africa's interesting because, let's face it, you've effectively got 3 teams with supporters, really, that are noisy. So you've got this constant trio of aggressors against each other. And people do seem to find it, sorry, that's generalizing. Some people find it quite difficult to put their club allegiances to one side when it comes to Bafana. I mean, I used to see it every time a squad was announced. Like when I was covering Bafana prop play and like a squad had come out and I'd tweet who was in the squad, it's like, oh, there's too many Pirates players in here. And it does. It leaks over and I don't think it's helpful. You know,
it doesn't help anyone, honestly.
Nah, it doesn't help anyone.
For me, it's the Sundowns Chiefs Pirates thing doesn't help anyone. But also for me, the Rolani and Pito and constantly... Shab, you can do it at club football because they did that to Mangoba just because he took from Rolani. They never accepted him. They're doing that to Cardoso. Shab, do it there. But to keep doing it in the national team as well, like every coach, Rolani this, Pito this. Honestly, it's tiring.
Yeah.
It's really tiring.
It's a bit toxic because some people now could come out and say, now we have more Pirates players. Why is it not the Pirates from helping us?
It's their fault. Yeah. Now that they're saying now that we're playing Pirates players, we lose.
But the thing, I think the problem we have with Sundowns is Sundowns are so far ahead of everybody. Even now, like we talk about Sundowns not being at their best, they're still going to win the league.
They're 2 points behind. And I've said they just at their so-called worst, they're 2 points behind.
Yeah, like they're still going to probably win the league.
Pirates fans are not going to like that, but go ahead.
No, but like I think they will run it close. But like this is the problem.
You and him are consistent with this. He's been saying this. He's been saying this.
The thing is that Sundowns have got so much depth. And it's been that way for so long that you see him have a little bit of a blip. And look, I've got nothing against Sundowns, but I hope I'm wrong because it'd be nice to see someone else win it for a change. Yeah. Like just like in England, I quite like Arsenal to win it now because I'm sick of seeing Man City and Liverpool win league titles and stuff. So I'd love Pirates to win the league, but I just the concern is that you get the deeper you get into the season and injuries start to come and form drops off a little bit. Sundowns have just got a pool of like a massive pool of players to draw on.
Yeah.
I don't even know what my point was.
They just added to the end. They still added to
the I don't even know how I ended up on that tangent. But I think my point was that there's like you can say why that was it. You're saying why aren't the Pirates players helping Bafana kick on? I think it's just an unfair thing to say because Pirates are doing well, but just because they're doing well and they're kicking on and pushing for a league title doesn't mean you go, well, do better in the national team as well.
And like we said when we started the show, guys, it's a game with small margins. We take our chances. Rele scores that. We're talking Kabini scores. We're talking a different thing. Madala is a genius. Yeah. Can't wait for Morocco in the quarterfinals. So, I think football is about perspective, and sometimes when just the result, we just look at the result and we lose all perspective.
I think, you're right. Sometimes we just need to step back. Yeah. I think, and to be honest, I think that's a good piece of advice for life in general. Like, just take some of your emotion out of things and look at the bigger picture with all of it.
Yeah.
And what right did Bafana have to be going and winning the Afcon? based on his like recent history.
None for me.
Yeah,
But
like-
no right.
Like
If we win it, great. But we can't demand it. I'm sorry.
like I said, we have the same thing in England. Like we won the World Cup in 1966.
Yeah, but since then,
We've not
it's
won a
coming
single
home.
thing. Yeah.
Every World Cup is coming.
And to be fair, to defend my people, that is another thing that's got misconstrued outside of England. It's like this weird, like self-deprecating song that is never really
A thing in England.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
It's said and it's sung and all that kind of stuff. But like, there's a lot of England that don't really think it's gonna happen. It's just like we do it every couple of years. But my point was that like England, yes, in recent tournaments we've got closer. You know, we've got to semi-finals and finals. So now we go into the 26th World Cup, and there is good reason for England to go, we've got a fair crack at this, because for recent years we've been there or thereabouts. There was a point when England were going into World Cups thinking they had a chance of winning it, when they'd done absolutely naff all for ages. You can't expect this group of players to just be like, oh, well, I know you've not done anything forever, but this is the year.
But you know what's the difference?
Yeah.
Yes, you guys overrate your players, PR, whatever. But you actually do genuinely have arguably the best, maybe not now, debatable, but the best league or one of the best leagues in the world. And your players are playing for the top teams in those teams.
But you could say
we're nowhere near that.
No, but you could say that the in South Africa you have arguably the best league in
Africa.
in the
Yes,
continent.
but we don't play against players who play in Africa when we play the Afcon.
Fair point.
That's the point.
Yeah, fair.
You said this last time, like
Yes,
if we were playing
let's
a
have an
local
Afcon.
Afcon.
Let's have an
local
Afcon
players.
with just local players. We will win it we will dominate.
To be fair,
It'll be us in Egypt.
To be fair, weren't winning Chan either.
We're not even winning Chan, by the way.
But I do think that sort of leads on nicely. We spoke about it off air before we started. I do think Bafana need more players overseas, and I think that you look at the difference makers, and I think it's why the Mbukazi thing bothered me so much, is because there is nothing stopping him from going and playing at a very high level after America, and that is what South Africa needs. I don't think it's any as much criticism as Lyle Foster gets, which I think is personally massively unjustified. Most of it. He's still got 4 goals and assists in this tournament, and he's the only player playing in the Premier League. I'm not saying the Premier League is the be-all and end-all of football.
But it shows you.
But there are levels to this game.
Yeah.
Correct.
And, by the time this tournament finishes, I think if you look at the best players at this tournament, you're going to look at most of them, and they will be playing in
the big leagues,
Yeah.
Spain, France, England, those sort of places.
100%. I think, gents, we've pretty much covered most of the stuff. I think maybe now is just the case of we're going to the World Cup. Any last words? What do we need to improve lastly, or anything else maybe you feel like it might have been unsaid?
Yeah.
Finish some chances off, man.
Nah, man, there's not a lot. If we can just try put a little bit extra, get a little bit of quality.
Have enough firepower.
I don't think we'll have, but let's just improve on those things.
Yeah.
A little bit of quality. And probably, maybe we'll get out of the group stages.
Maybe we just don't try and say things that upset everybody.
No, we're going to sort that out.
Yeah, for me, all the things we've discussed, the negatives, let's just fix them. Because I think that's the point of discussing them. Right? We're not discussing it just because we want to be,
Yeah.
Madala must improve his PR, maybe better team selection. And other mistakes on the field, the guys know. They know what they need to do. They'll sort it out. And let's hope for the best. But I think also as friends, let's play our role. It's like, for example, I just look at how everyone is responding to Rele. And Teko spoke about this. And he warned. He said, you guys are going to do to him what you did to me. You're going to build him up so much. Then as soon as he has a half-decent game or a bad game, you're going to break him down. And that's exactly what we are. By the way, Rele did not even play badly. But as fans also, yes, we've lost. Yes, we're emotional. But let's stop being negative. Let's rather... These boys have given us something we've not had in a long time. So let's rather be positive and let's try to, find ways going forward.
I think this Bafana team have given people hope for the first time in a long time.
Yeah.
I covered Bafana for a long time, and it felt, going back to what we said at the start of the show, it felt so pessimistic, and so you were always going into tournaments. Well, if you made tournaments, going into things and going, oh well, we're just going through the motions again. Whereas now, it feels like something's building, and I think you've got to work with that. You've got to take that forward, because this country's got everything, man. Like this country's got all the potential in the world. We've seen it with the Springboks. We've seen it with different sporting athletics at the moment. Like South Africa has got all the potential in the world to go on and really do some big things. And I think if you stick with the project, and that's not just Hugo Broos's project, that is the current flow of South African football. There's so many more positives and negatives, and I think we need to focus more on the good bits.
And finally, from my side, to all the PSL players, Jens Liwoni, clearly there's still seats open. So give us a good PSL last 6 months, because there are seats on that on the plane to the US clearly. So
sure.
Fully.
We're
going to the World Cup. I think if we can get out of the group, it would be great. But other than that, guys, I think we've spoken about everything. I think the only thing, Safa, if you're listening, let's get Magdala a PR practitioner, please. Yeah. Let's help the old man out.
Just someone in the back going,
cut. But other than that, we're fine. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you already haven't. But yeah, man, let's engage in the comment section. If you don't like what we said, let us know. If you like what we said, let us know too. Let's talk about it. Until the next installment of The State of Football. Thank you very much.